Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Share Podcast. Today we're gonna be doing some NFL picks. Week 5. We got some more games on here for you. I'm just gonna get this one started, not waste too much time. We did miss Thursday night games because we're doing this on a Friday. I'll just put in our picks for this. We all picked Tampa except for Sam. Oh, there's only 3 of us. Me and Sermensky ended up taking Tampa. Sam went with Atlanta. So he's got a 1-0 head start on the rest of us. Nicely done, Sam. So moving on to the rest of the games this week. There's no shockers for this one, so it goes a little bit faster than college. We have the New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings in our first London game of the year. And so this is an unknown because I thought the Jets would be a lot better this year with, um, uh, with Aaron Rodgers finally being healthy. I was like whacking out the name for some reason. But with Aaron Rodgers finally healthy, I figured it'd be a little bit better on this in general, but they really just haven't. So I don't know. I don't know what to really go with. I feel like the Vikings have looked a lot better this year, but the Jets really just have not inspired me with any kind of confidence. And with the way the Vikings are playing right now, I think they have the upper hand. I could very much see this being their first loss of the year, but I think that the Minnesota still gets it done and they knock off the Jets in London. I want to say on the road, but it in London. Uh, and I believe the rest of us all went with Minnesota. And yes, we did. So it's a whoa, not what I said. We have a clean sweep for the Minnesota Vikings, and then next we have the Carolina Panthers going on the road to take on the Chicago Bears. Oh, and Carolina Panther fans love to beat Chicago. But I hate to break it to you guys, they're not. um, Bears aren't Bears aren't doing it. Bears are not gonna be making it happen. Uh, so I mean, I'm picking the Bears in this. I'm trying to find but there we go. Serbensky does have Chicago. Sam has Carolina, which I'm kind of surprised by. So Sam's going with the Panthers. Definitely would be a surprise. Serbensky is going to be taking the Chicago Bears along with me. It's Carolina. I know, sure, Andy Dalton's not a quarterback. It's not Bryce Young, who might just be an absolute bum. But uh, it's Carolina. I can't pick Carolina. I think Bears get the 3-2, and they get themselves above 500 now. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens on the road against the Cincinnati Bengals. Rivalry matchup here, divisional matchup here. Really, really interesting game. Cincinnati, neither of these teams have really had the start to the year they wanted. The Ravens are starting to figure it out after a 0-2 start. I'm sure that was obviously not ideal for them. But now 2 wins in 2 weeks. You end up beating the Dallas Cowboys on the road, and then you absolutely pound the Buffalo Bills. Definitely had to feel good to be doing that. And as for the Cincinnati Bengals, I mean, their season has really just has yet to get on the right foot. They do have a win, which came last week against the Panthers. But they've lost to New England. They've lost to Washington. Who was the other one? They lost to the Chiefs. I mean, it's not been a good season for the Cincinnati. I think they're just kind of falling apart at the seams here. This could be this could be the beginning of the end, I think, for Cincy, with just how things are going. Jamar Chase does not seem happy. T. Higgins is not happy. Burrow's not playing well. Nothing's going right for the Bengals right now. Unless something turns around very quickly, it could be over for them. I am going to go with the Ravens, though. The Bengals are just a mess and do not look good. The Raven and with the Ravens starting to figure it out and starting to look like the team that everybody thought they would be. Ooh boy, watch out. Watch out for the Ravens if they really are living up to that hype that they had at the beginning of the season. Serbinsky is going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals. But Sam, I believe he is taking the Ravens in this one. Yes, he does have the Baltimore Ravens. Next, we have the Miami Dolphins going on the road to take on the New England Patriots. I believe Sam and Serbinsky both are going with New England. Yes, they are. And I'm going to be the one who's different this time because I am taking Miami. I know that sounds crazy because Miami has looked horrible the past few weeks, obviously, with no Tua in town, but it's New England. And, obviously, Tyler Huntley, it was his first game in Miami, which is a brand new system. He's still probably learning what's going on, really. I think it'll take some time, but eventually it's kind of hard to really screw up just being or it's kind of hard to screw up when you have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, uh Devon A Chain all on your offense with Mike McDaniel running it. Like it's very hard to mess that up. So I think with another week of practice, another week of just familiarizing himself with the system. I mean, he wasn't horrible with the Ravens. I mean, he's not a bad backup QB. So I think Huntley will kind of reel it in here, and they'll at least be able to beat New England because dear Lord, New England's bad. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns going on the road to take on the Washington Commanders, who man have they had a nice start to this year, and I think it's going to continue. But what happened to Cleveland? Like, I didn't think the offense would be dynamite, but my gosh, their defense hasn't even looked good. I mean, that was why they made it last year, the postseason. It wasn't because of their offense, because their offense was bad. Although they did have Joe Flacco, who came out of nowhere at the end of the year. But for the Browns, it was like their defense. That was what carried them. They had a great defense that just won them games, and it was huge from last year how good they were. And now we see them this year, and gal, they don't look good at all. I mean, they've had some really rough games. I mean, Dallas dropping 33. The Raiders even got 20. I mean, they do not look special, and they have not lived anywhere near what they were a season ago. They definitely are not horrible. They're still a solid defense, but they're definitely not what they were a season before. And with how hot this Washington offense is, and just how dynamic Jaden Daniels has been to start the year, I'm pretty comfortable in taking Washington in this one. Jaden Daniels is on fire, and right now he is not going to be stopped. Everyone else has Washington in this one too. It's a pretty easy pick for all of us, it seems. Next, we have the Indy Colts going on the road to take on the only winless team in the league currently, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pretty sure it's a clean sweep for the in favor of the Indy Colts, and that is correct. We all have the Colts winning on the road in Jacksonville. But I don't remember which team it is that hasn't won in Jacksonville in like 8 years. I think it's the Colts, and if it is Indy, they're gonna get their first win there in a while. Jacksonville is a hot. Yeah, I talked about Cincinnati being a hot mess. Jacksonville is a hot mess. They do not look good. Trevor Lawrence has been horrible since getting his contract. Doug Peterson's very much on the hot seat. It's not good times in Jacksonville. It's only getting worse for them, and I think that if they don't get some wins here really fast, it it'll be the end of the Doug Peterson era. Next, we have probably what might be the best game of the week: the Buffalo Bills on the road against the Houston Texans. What a football game we have here, guys! This will be a fantastic game. The Bills are missing a few players. Khalil Shakir is out for this one. along with, of course, Von Miller, who's suspended. Ed Oliver will not be playing, and neither will Taylor Rapp. So a lot of key players missing for the Bills. And coming off that absolute drubbing on the road in Baltimore, I would have picked the Bills to win this one to get back on track. But hearing all the players that they're going to be missing, I can't pick Buffalo. Houston's going to be a lot healthier. They're a really good team. At home with a depleted Bills team, I got the Houston Texans defending home turf and getting the win, and getting a huge one over Buffalo, and getting themselves a 4-1. Still going to be a really fun game. We'll love to see that. And we all have Texans in that one. And then next we have the Las Vegas Raiders going on the road to take on the Denver Broncos. Pretty sure this is a clean sweep for Denver. Yes, it is. We all have the Denver Broncos. It is kind of getting rough in Vegas too. They're not looking sharp. Devontae Adams, of course, has requested a trade. Who knows if he'll even play this week since he clearly wants out of Vegas. Um, I don't like what's happening over there. Denver's not a great team either, but Denver doesn't have problems with their star player. Of course, Denver really doesn't have a star player, but point is they don't have a problem with their best player. Right now, that's what we're looking at for Vegas. So I am going to go with Denver in this one. Guess we're all going to Denver, but it could be anybody's game, but give me Denver. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals going on the road to take on the San Fran 49ers. San Francisco is dealing with a lot of injuries still right now. They're significantly hampered, but I still think they're a much better team. I don't think Arizona is really going to be able to knock them off, especially on the road. I don't think Arizona has the talent yet. I think they'll be good in a few more years, but I don't think they're going to be able to knock off the Niners. Neither do the rest of us because we all once again went clean sweep in favor of San Francisco. Next, we have the Green Bay Packers going on the road to take on yet another injury hampered team in the LA Rams. Pretty sure this is a clean sweep in favor of Green Bay, and yes, it is. I would have taken the LA Rams if they were healthy. Problem is, they don't have either of their top two starting receivers, and that alone cost them really pretty much a game at Chicago. They did not look good there. I know they're at home and at SoFi, but first of all, no one really from LA shows up to LA football games anyway. We've kind of seen that with fans from San Francisco show up to LA. It's not a great environment for them, and they're down pretty bad with injuries. So I'm sticking with Green Bay in this one, especially with Jordan Love gonna be back for another week now, getting a bit healthier. I've got the Packers. Next, we have the New York Giants on the road against Seattle. This one goes without saying. The Giants are horrible. They're a beyond garbage team. They're not good. I'm going with Seattle pretty easily. They're the home. Not only are they at home, but they're the superior opponent. They're the superior team. We all have Seattle winning this one. No arguments there. Next, we have another interesting game. Probably one of the three from this week because Tampa Atlanta was another really good one. We have the Dallas Cowboys going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sam has taken the Pittsburgh Steelers to get the win here at home. I believe Serbenski went with Dallas, and yes, he did. He took the Cowboys to get the win at I'm still calling it Heinz Field. I don't care if it's Acrisure. Getting the win in Pittsburgh. This could be a game that sets back football a couple decades. We might be going back to 1990s here. Uh, I got Steelers though. I do not like what I see in Dallas. Mike Tomlin's a good head coach. He seems to always get the most out of pretty much any Steeler team that seems to roll through town. And it's really impressive to me how he somehow manages to get the best out of what seems to be just a bunch of nobodies. But this is a Steeler team that honestly I think might not actually be that bad. especially because they're led now by a quarterback who's not a total bum in Justin Fields. Now, who knows? Maybe they'll go to Russell Wilson again because he might end up eventually getting healthy. But Justin Fields, the Bears end up giving up on him, but I liked that trade and the Steelers made it. I'm like, that's a underrated QB. In Chicago, he never had an offensive line. He didn't have options to throw to. With Pittsburgh, he has a little bit more of that now. He's got George Pickens. There's rumors they might trade for Devontae Adams, which would really help out Fields. But the Steelers have a decent O line. It's not great. They've drafted a couple guys over the years, but I think they're missing a lot of guys now in the defensive front. But Dallas doesn't have their game record. They don't have Micah Parsons. He's going to be out for this game, I'm pretty sure as well. So with all the injuries there, I've got Pittsburgh. This is gonna be a really fun. This is gonna be a really fun game for probably all the wrong reasons because they're both gonna be that probably bad on offense. But we'll see how it goes. Next, we have Monday Night Football. The New Orleans Saints on the road taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. I Rashee Rice is out, sure. Isaiah Pacheco is out, sure. This is Patrick Mahomes. This is Kansas City. You don't bet against Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. I'm taking Kansas City. New Orleans had those 2 good weeks at the beginning of the year where they looked really good and they're really sharp, and they've come back down to earth and they're going to get smoked by Kansas City. I do not believe in the Saints. I was impressed when they had that nice start to the season, but and then they lost to a Philly Eagle team that was down pretty bad with injuries, and they did not look great last weekend to Atlanta, and they're back to, I think, being the New Orleans Saints. So I am taking Kansas City to win this one. They are down. They are down bad with injuries, of course, as well. But this is Kansas. Like I said, it's Kansas City. It's Patrick Mahomes. You don't bet against Patrick Mahomes until someone beats him. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to go Kansas City. And that's all we have for today. And everybody else went with Kansas City, by the way. So that's all we have for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Of course, we'll have more videos coming next week. Also, I didn't do this in the other video, but shout out to the Detroit Tigers. Not only did we get to the postseason, we beat the Houston Texans. We're going to be playing Cleveland, baby. How about it? How about them Tigers? Really happy to see that. So good to just see Detroit teams actually being good rather than being absolutely terrible and, wanting all of us Detroit people to gouge our eyes out. So it's nice to see that we're actually playing well. But that's all I got for today, and we'll see you next week. Until then, adios, everyone.